Ahead at 6, we're on your side with election coverage. There's an hour left to cast your vote in the runoffs for the GOP's 3rd Congressional District and the Democrats' U.S. Senate primaries. Live coverage straight ahead.
And the temperatures are hot. We hear from some workers about how they beat the heat.
Hottest day of the year so far. Are even hotter days ahead? I'm tracking that and some thunderstorms on radar coming up.
Wlbt, 3 on your side. Wlbt News starts now.
We are an hour away from polls closing in today's runoff elections here in Mississippi.
Yes, we are. Voter traffic early this morning was largely pretty steady, and that's despite expectations by the Secretary of State that turnout will barely reach double digits. Well, the voters 3 on your side spoke with today say each and every election is important. The winners of this election move forward in their race and will face off again in November 6th, hoping to represent you in Washington.
Have a national platform, and so it's important to consider who's running and think about it and pick the person you think is best suited to represent us on a national scale.
Polls stay open until 7 p.m. Now, the races today are the Republican primary runoff election for the 3rd Congressional District and the Democratic primary runoff election for U.S. Senate, as we mentioned. State Representative David Beria is up against Howard Sherman for the Democratic nomination for Senate. The winner will face incumbent Republican Senator Roger Wicker in November. In the 3rd Congressional District, Michael Guest faces Whit Hughes for the Republican nomination. The winner of that race is up against Democratic State Representative Michael Evans and a Reform Party candidate in November. Let's take a closer look now at the race for the 3rd Congressional District. Republicans Michael Guest and Whit Hughes facing each other in the runoff because neither received more than 50% of the vote. Courtney Ann Jackson on your side live with more from Guest's campaign.
So, Howard, we are in Brandon, right here on West Government Street. Michael Guest back here behind me. He has been campaigning like this throughout the day. Despite the heat, he's holding one of his signs. This is how he is choosing to spend this final hour of his campaign time. In fact, he's been doing it for most of the day. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see them here as they wave and hold up these signs. They've been having lots of folks honking at them, but I can tell you that just the things that have changed over the course of the last 3 weeks. Last week, Governor Phil Bryant endorsing Michael Guest. On Sunday, the National Rifle Association endorsing Michael Guest. He has certainly been letting folks know and letting the voters know that he's received those endorsements. He believes that they are significant. As for what they've been doing over the course of the last 3 weeks, I've been talking to his campaign today, and they tell me that really they have focused on trying to talk with the voters about why Michael Guest should be their man as they go into the ballot box today. They believe that it was important for Michael to meet with folks in all 24 of the counties yet again, even though it was in this crunched 3-week period for the runoff, and to talk to the voters who previously had a different candidate in this District 3 race. If you'll remember, there were 6 candidates that have now been narrowed down to 2, and they wanted to talk to those voters about why they should vote for Michael Guest in this runoff. Again, we're down to the final hour, and this is exactly where Michael and his wife Haley will be for the final hour, making sure that his name and face is out there in case there are any last-minute voters who have not yet made it to the polls. For now, live in Brandon, Courtney Ann Jackson, 3 on your side.
Well, Michael Guest opponent Whit Hughes has experience in politics, but this is his first run for public office. Tonight, he's hoping for a better showing than he had in the primary. As a Trump supporter, Hughes has based his campaign on conservative ideals. Tonight, David Kenny is at his party headquarters with the latest.
We're here at Sombra in the township in Ridgeland, where Whit Hughes and his supporters will gather later to watch those election results come in. And Hughes hoping to do better this time around in the runoff than he did in the primary race, where he only received 22% of the vote compared to Michael Guest, who received 45% of the vote. Hughes is continuing his statewide tour, meeting with voters and supporters, talking about the issues. This afternoon, we caught up with him at his campaign headquarters in Ridgeland. Many of his views on immigration and foreign relations align with President Trump. During his campaign, he has promised to increase spending for the military Hughes says he will be the conservative voice for the people in Washington if elected. He also promises to cut government spending and create more transparency on where lawmakers are really spending taxpayers' money. Now, voter turnout in the teens during that primary, and they are expected again to be pretty low again this time, maybe in the single digits. So we'll have to wait and see if that will work in favor or against Hughes in this runoff election. The big story, of course, in this race was the fact that Hughes asked Michael Guest to debate him, but Michael Guest declined every time. We'll have much more election coverage live in our later newscast. For now, in Ridgeland, David Kenny, 3 on your side.
All right, now to the Democratic U.S. Senate runoff. State Representative David Berry is facing Howard Sherman. 3 on your side's Patrice Clark, covering Sherman's watch party in Meridian. She joins us now live from Wiedemann's Restaurant.
Yeah, in less than an hour, the polls will close here in Meridian, and Howard Sherman, his family and friends will be right here at Wiedemann's Restaurant, one of Mississippi's oldest restaurants, watching the numbers and hoping that he becomes the Democratic pick for the U.S. Senate seat against Roger Wicker. Now, I am joined by his lovely wife, TV actress and movie star, Seal Ward. Let me tell you, I hear you have been instrumental in this campaign. How do you feel today?
We are so excited. I can't tell you. We've been all over Jackson today. We've been up and down this great state for the past month and been so embraced by people. The Mississippians are awesome. They are so artistic and interesting and have so much to offer. People have embraced my husband, Howard Sherman, and are excited about the possibility of him being the next senator. Why? Because he has ideas and solutions, really fresh ideas for Mississippi to help lift us up from being number 50. Enough. We deserve better than that. It's been too long. I'm 61. We've been 50th my entire life. Howard Sherman has ideas and solutions. Let's get to those polls, guys, because you've got 1 hour. Don't waste your precious vote to vote Howard Sherman for Senate. There's great possibility ahead for us.
Thank you. Anything else you want to say about the campaign and why people should vote for your husband?
The campaign has been really wonderful for us, for the most part, because we get a chance to meet people up close and personal, hear what's important to them and what they really need for their lives, for the quality of their lives that they don't have now and haven't had for the longest time. The campaign has been wonderful, and we've met so many people who've embraced us, and Howard Sherman in particular, my husband. And we've tried to run a very clean, classy campaign. It's hard to do when the other side is not that, but we're holding our head high and hoping that the people of Mississippi see that clearly and know that we only have the best interest of our people at heart, and that's our only agenda.
Well, thank you for joining us, Ms. Ward. And again, you have less than an hour to cast your vote here in Meridian, and we'll be here all night bringing you the numbers, and we'll also get to talk with candidate Howard Sherman. Reporting from Meridian, Patrice Clark, 3 on your side.
You can go to msnewsnow.com for maps of polling locations and more information on each candidate, plus download our app for updates and results straight to your phone. Now here's Chief Meteorologist Dave Roberts with your first alert forecast. Dave.
Maggie, I'll tell you something right now. The heat is on today. Hottest day of the year so far, where temperatures getting into the 90s out there. 100 degrees is the way it feels in Jackson. It feels like 102 in Vicksburg, and the temperature's not much cooler. 91 right now in the metro, 92 in Natchez. I'm seeing a couple of showers, but you got to look real close. There were a few in the metro just a short time ago. They pretty much have fizzled out. What's not fizzling out? The heat and the humidity. In fact, it's building. I'll tell you what that means, especially as we get closer to this upcoming holiday weekend. Your forecast in a few minutes.
With temperatures in the 90s, now's the time to get ready for that Mississippi heat.
Oh, yeah, the heat can present a lot of dangers, even if you aren't out in it for very long. 3 on your side's Rosin Anderson joining us live now with ways you can protect yourself.
We're downtown, and those temperatures are still in the 90s. We talked to some people who work downtown earlier today, and they say that they're doing all that they can to stay safe as these temperatures soar.
I got plenty of water right here. You got to keep a bottle of water on me.
Aubrey Robinson is painting a building in downtown Jackson and is prepared for the scorching temperatures summer will bring. If you work or spend time outdoors, the chances for heat exhaustion and heat stroke are increasing.
Trying to work smarter, not harder. Certain times of the day we just look at the way the sun rotating. We just try working in the shade. Whatever the sun hitting off, but we want to work around the sun.
Downtown workers are taking precautions to prevent any heat-related illnesses.
Drinking plenty of water, Powerade, Gatorade, whatever we can. We started taking longer breaks and getting more water and ice. Yetis ain't holding ice much more, but hey, we do what we can.
The University of Mississippi Medical Center reports that they have seen just a slight increase in people seeking treatment for heat-related issues. Doctors say it is important when working outside to wear lightweight, light-colored clothing, take frequent breaks, keep hydrated, and find shade when possible.
Begin the day in a hydrated state. A lot of people think that they just have to drink when they're out in the heat. If you start dehydrated, then you're going to be behind the 8 ball from the get-go. So really try to hydrate yourself before you get out in the heat.
Now, doctors tell us you should seek medical attention if you stop sweating completely and feel dizzy, or if you see someone pass out. That's the latest from here in Jackson. Rosalind Anderson, 3 on your side.
Next at 6, an art teacher is leading an art class at the Warren County Juvenile Detention Center. How it's impacting all in a positive way.